I've been teaching at my current school for about 9 years, and the teacher morale at our school is the lowest it's been since I've been there. It's hanging on by a thread. Last year, the district laid off a ton of teachers, and it made our classrooms humongous. I went from having an average of about 29, 30 students to having about 35 to 36 students per class. Right now, I have a total of 196 students, and it's because of the teacher layoffs. The district is planning on laying off 100 more teachers that they don't need to lay off this year. I teach in secondary, and it doesn't matter from what subject a teacher gets laid off from. There's always this domino effect that makes every single other class larger. Can't imagine how my class sizes are going to balloon because of this set of layoffs. I only have 40 seats in my classroom, and I could make more. I've done it in the past. It's not just teacher layoffs, it's support staff layoffs, like office managers and folks who make our lives a lot easier and a lot happier on a daily basis. I've always been a teacher that is less worried about myself than I am about my students, but here's the thing, if teacher morale is low, then student morale is going to be low. If the teachers have a hard time teaching classes of upwards of 30 or 40 students, then the students are going to suffer. The morale of teachers, staff, and students are at the lowest it's ever been, and it looks like we haven't reached the bottom yet. I'm going to continue to be there every single day, and I'm going to continue to show up, and I'm going to continue to give my best to my students. I just feel like my best could be even better if we had smaller class sizes. I feel like my best could be even better if we had support staff that were there to support us. I feel like my best could be even better if I didn't see colleagues kind of cycled through the hiring and laying off process.
Video 1 is exposing a problem that most people are too shallow to name correctly. This is not teacher stress. This is a capacity failure. Once one teacher is responsible for 200 students, the work stops being fully relational and starts becoming operational. The job shifts from teaching from depth to managing volume with professionalism. This is a major difference because education depends on attention, timing, correction, emotional steadiness, and human presence. All of those are limited resources. A classroom is not a place where information gets delivered. It is a social environment held together by one adult's ability to maintain order, read emotional cues, track learning gaps, redirect behavior, and pace instructions. And you have to keep the room stable enough for thinking to happen. When a class size increases, the teacher is not simply getting more work, the teacher is carrying more complexity. That is part of public does not understand. Every added student increases the number of decisions this teacher has to make, more confusion to catch, more behavior to monitor, more assignments to even assess, more personality to regulate. If you think about it, more chances for a child to become invisible in plain sight. At a certain threshold, the issue is no longer work ethic. This issue is cognitive overload. And cognitive overload always reduces precision. That is the line. When a system overloads a teacher, the first thing lost is not effort, it's precision. The teacher may still care, right? The teacher may still prepare. The teacher may still stay late and show up every day, but the quality of attention gets thinner because attention cannot be stretched indefinitely without becoming less exact. That means weaker feedback, slower intervention, less emotional attunement, and more energy spent preventing disorder instead of advancing learning. That is not a failure of character, that's a failure of scale. The clean analogy is this, right? If one air traffic controller suddenly has to track far more planes than the system was built for, nobody intelligent will call the problem lazy. The danger would be obvious. Too many moving parts and now depending on one nervous system to remain accurate without relief. A classroom under these conditions works the same way. The teacher is trying to guide too many trajectories at once, and the margin for error gets smaller as the load gets heavier. This is also why the morale drop. Morale is not about whether people start feeling cheerful. Morale is about whether a person still believes the work can be done well enough to mean something. Once that belief starts eroding, the job becomes psychologically corrosive. The teacher is still exerting effort, but the environment is keep blocking the standard of care that they know the students deserve. That creates more exhaustion. It creates more injury, burnout fatigue. Moral injury is the pain of being unable to practice your values, right? Under the conditions you are given. That is what makes this serious, right? A teacher consciousness does not only feel tired of these conditions, they feel compromised.